Welcome to Ohio's Hidden Treasure, Richfield Heritage Preserve, right here in Richfield, Ohio. My name is Heather, and I'll be taking you today on our Watershed Moment. Richfield Heritage Preserve is on the extreme eastern edge of the Rocky River watershed, 336 acres of a watershed that extends 294 square miles, 4 counties. We're going to show you the extreme eastern edge of the watershed. But first, there's a history story here I want to tell you a little bit about. So come closer, because among these winding streams, 2 sparkling lakes and storybook forests, there's a significant history, distinct enough that this area has been put on the National Register of Historic Places. It began with the Native Americans. Indian artifacts have been found on this property. Then came the Oviatt family, one of the premier first families of 336 acres in Farmville. In 1919, Jim Kirby comes a-knocking at the door. He bought part of this. You remember Jim Kirby because you think he invented the Kirby vacuum cleaner, and you're right. But there's more. He had over 160 patents. One of them is a patent on this lake, Lake Janelle, the lower lake here. He found a way to drain the silt from the lake and leave the water more clear for recreation. Kirby built a lovely house, a dance hall, which he let the community use, and he also built this mill, this historic mill. Kirby's mill generated electricity for this property. Right now it's being restored. If you'd like to help, there's a link at the end of this video. At the same time, the Neal family bought the northern property, and they created a really productive fruit farm with peaches and apples. 1937 comes along and the Girl Scouts came. They bought the Kirby property, and then in 1957 the Neal property. So from 1937 until 2011, the Girl Scouts camped here. Day camp, overnight camp, weekend camp, all-week camp, and their buildings they built are still standing. When you walk through the woods, we'll see that. Girl Scouts, as you know, were leaders. They were leaders in racial integration and religious inclusion. No matter what your socioeconomic background was, you could be a Girl Scout. And that's part of the reason why National Park Service calls this the Kroll-Hyleka Historic District. Kroll-Hyleka was the name the Girl Scouts gave to this park. Let's take a look at this. Today, the beauty of Richfield Heritage Preserve is maintained by the Richfield Joint Recreation District and its not-for-profit partner, Friends of Kroll-Hyleka. So come with me. Let's go on our Watershed Moment. What exactly is a watershed? Think of it as your kitchen sink, a basin with edges. Everything goes down to a single drain. In the Rocky River watershed, water that does not absorb into the ground flows through these clear streams into Rocky River, onto Lake Erie, to St. Lawrence Seaway, to the Atlantic. A watershed captures water, stores water, and releases water. Some water gets stuck, but all water has a chance to go the distance. Every drop of rain that falls from the sky or off of a flower, every dewdrop from a spider's web, every spring and every stream, every ditch and every lake. The Rocky River watershed start, and where does it flow? Well, the West Branch starts south of Route 18 in Medina County and flows north. Now, the East Branch is a little more tricky. The East Branch starts in North Royalton on private property at State and Wallings Road, and it flows south. It flows south through Hinckley and Richfield, and then Hinckley again. It hits some rock deposited by glaciers that it can't get through, so it turns around at Whipp's Ledges in the Hinckley Metro Parks, and it begins to flow north. It becomes impounded as Hinckley Lake, and then the Rocky River East Branch flows north through North Royalton, Strongsville, Middleburg Heights, Berea, bigger and bigger, add more water. It meets up with the West Branch in North Olmsted, west of the airport on Cedar Point Road, also in the Metro Parks. And it moves on to Lake Erie, and then out the St. Lawrence to the Atlantic. Why is it important to keep your watershed healthy? Just imagine the pristine flowing streams, those sweet sounds, see those animals thriving, oh, the richness and the beauty. Now, picture them fouled with things like motor oil, dissolved fertilizer, garbage, plastic. Erosion, too, can steal precious land where there used to be beauty and where animals and plants once thrived. Our storybook forests can become eroded wastelands. All that water that goes through the watershed drain, it's used for agriculture, for recreation, as a habitat for plants and animals, and you're drinking it. Water quality is important, which is why all of us folks need to pitch in to keep our watersheds healthy. What are some of the leading causes of pollution in watersheds? I can give you 3 right now. First of all, there's sediment. Nasty things collect in sediment. And then there's bacteria like E. coli. And thirdly is excess of nutrients, especially nitrogen and phosphorus, as in fertilizer. So you're asking, well, what can I do to keep the watershed healthy? What can I do to keep it swimmable and fishable, kayakable and drinkable? Fortunately, there's a lot of people who are already on the ball with that. Good start. Much of Rocky River flows through the metro parks and areas like Richfield Heritage Preserve, where people carefully take care of the health of the watershed. Did you know Rocky River is one of the best steelhead trout fishing areas in the world? It's even been featured on ESPN. Audubon Society has declared the East Branch as an important bird area. Our water supports animal life, riparian areas, and recreation. Rocky River is one of Ohio's cleanest waterways, and that's no accident. So most people want to know, give me something I can do to help me keep the watershed healthy. There are a lot of things you can do. Here's a few of them. Number 1, stay on the path. Number 2, keep your pets on a leash and scoop their poop. There's nasty bacteria that hide in poop. Another thing you can do is stash your trash, especially plastic. Plastic decomposes over time in water. Another thing you can do is buy organic fertilizer instead of chemicals. And that stream that's near or in your yard, get rid of the grass along the edge so you don't have to mow there. Instead, Introduce plants with longer roots, like tall grasses, bushes, trees, or wildflowers. Grass is overrated. Take the Champion Challenge. Rocky River Watershed Council has on its website a simple list of things you can do in your own yard. You do some of them and send it in. The Watershed Council sends you a small yard sign, a champion yard sign that you can add. Another thing you can do is volunteer. Watch the local news or contact your local associations and join them. They will show you how to get rid of invasive plants, monitor the water, count the fish. And finally, join Friends of Crow Ileka, or another local group that cares. There are so many ways to help keep your watershed healthy. As you take your own watershed moment, look around you and think with your eyes.